The next question comes from Scott, who says, any good exercises for two-hand synchronization? Also, any tips for left-hand position when playing lead? My thumb keeps crossing up the side of the neck, and I'm trying to break years of bad habits. First thing, Scott, great to hear from you. I know it's been a long time since I've talked to you, so welcome, and I'm glad you're here. As far as hand position, let's talk about that first. The position of your thumb, all right, whether it's to the side of the neck or wrapped over the top or behind, is very much a matter of context. There are plenty of times where my thumb is here, okay? Especially like if I'm doing any kind of bending technique and I need that reinforced kind of fulcrum action of the thumb over the top is not that big of a deal. It's all, once again, a matter of context. If you're playing certain chord voicings or certain types of stretches where you have larger space between the fingers, yes, the thumb needs to be behind, but don't beat yourself up too much if you find your thumb kind of creeping over the top. I'll never forget the first couple times I saw video clips of Hendrix playing, and I realized that so many of his great chord voicings were thumb in the bass chord voicing. So if it worked for Jimmy, I'm not going to argue with that. As a matter of fact, one of my all-time favorite chords can't be played without the thumb in the bass to get the root note, okay? And once again, certain techniques just feel better with the thumb over the top. With things like bends and a lot of times vibrato, I'll have the thumb as kind of an anchor point. But once again, certain times, as far as certain techniques you need to be able to do, if I want to have a large stretch between notes, I got to make sure that that thumb is way behind the neck. When it comes to synchronization, okay, the most important thing about two-hand synchronization is you have to diagnose exactly what your problem is, okay? Last week I talked about that I view guitar playing as kind of, we are athletes of the fine motor skills, okay? And you have to diagnose exactly where your synchronization problems are coming from. Chances are there is a weak hand. Either your fretting hand is more adept as far as fine motor skills and your right hand is, your picking hand is trying to catch up, or vice versa. Maybe your picking hand is stronger and your fretting hand is slower. It all comes down to a combination of a couple of things. The first thing being rhythmic accuracy. Okay, chances are one hand is a little bit out of alignment when it comes to your rhythmic accuracy, or the speed that you're playing at. One hand is either rushing or dragging, and there's a problem with the alignment of that, okay? Another issue can be endurance, okay? Are you running out of steam with the fretting hand, or are you running out of steam with the picking hand, and are these two things kind of separating each other and making things sound sloppy? It all comes down to the amount of fine muscle control that you have with each hand, and if there's a misalignment between that, then things are going to get weird. When it comes to the picking hand, this can be the things like the angle of the pick or the slant of the pick, inside versus outside picking that I've talked about before, string skipping. Essentially, you're trying to find where are there wasted movements in my picking hand and how can I be more efficient with that. As far as the fretting hand, the issues usually come down to, am I playing a weird kind of fingering or some kind of weird position shift or a weird kind of string cross? And same idea, I'm trying to find where are my wasted movements. I find that when it comes to two-hand synchronization, you want to be able to combine together rhythmic accuracy, speed, and endurance all at once, okay? So let's say I start with this, okay? I'm gonna play a couple simple things and then make it more complex as we go, okay? So I turn on a metronome, okay? And I'm just gonna play first and second finger back and forth as eighth notes, okay? With all down picking. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? Then I'm gonna play that with all up picking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then I'm going to play it starting with a down pick on the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and using alternate picking. And then I'm going to start with the up pick on the beat, alternate picking, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's, once again, that's kind of weird for a lot of people to get used to, playing one melodic phrase with either all downs, all ups, with the down on the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or with the up on the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, somewhere in there, you're probably going to find one of those feels kind of weird, and that's a great way, once again, at immediately kind of diagnosing your problem. Now, to make this more of a rhythmic exercise, try doing this, okay? This is one of my favorite things, dealing with rhythmic displacement, okay? I'm going to play this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then I'm going to move it in the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 2 and 3 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 and 4 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 1 2 3 and 4 and 2 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 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 3 4 and 1 and 3 4 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 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 4 1 and 2 and now I'm back to where I started. Essentially what I'm doing is taking this short little 4-note phrase of 4 eighth notes with alternate picking and moving it an eighth note at a time in the bar. So 1 and 2 and then 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so I'm shifting it around. All right. Now you could try this with all down picking. You could try this with all up picking. You can do it starting on a down pick. You can do it starting on an up pick. Now let's make it even worse. Let's take this phrasing and cross strings with it. Okay, now we have to deal with, am I picking outside or am I picking inside? Am I picking all downs? Am I picking all ups? And you want to do every one of these variations with just this one combination of fingers. So I might do first, second, crossing strings with down picks. I might do it with all up picks, which feels really weird. Okay, I might do down, up, which would be outside picking, or I might do up, down, which is inside picking. And I want to take this same idea and also do my rhythmic displacement with this. I want to practice this in every part of the bar. So I might start with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4 and 2 and 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 2 and 3 and 1 2 and 3 and etc. Okay, so once you've kind of diagnosed what your problem is, then you want to start to do this with as many combinations of fingerings as you can. Okay, what if I do the same idea with first and third finger on one string, or first and third with a skip string? What if I even did first and third with 2 skipped strings? 1 and 2 and. That could be outside picking, that could be inside picking, that could be all downs, that could be all ups. Okay, and then finally, if you could do all these combinations of 2 notes at a time, start to put together combinations of all 4 fingers. Like you might start with the obvious one, 1 2 3 4, and do 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and then displace it 1 and 2 and 3 and put it in a different part of the bar. But when it comes to string crossing, that might be 1 2 3 4, where I'm kind of zigzagging across the strings. And once again, if there's a problem with either your rhythmic alignment and your rhythmic accuracy, the string cross with the picking hand, or the placement of the fingers, this is all about diagnosing where your misalignment comes from. And there's all kinds of combinations of fingerings and string changes to explore, but it really comes down to, you need to know where the issue of your lack of synchronization is coming from and then focus on that one thing. One of the easiest ways to do that is just take your phone and record yourself. Put the phone down and record a video of yourself playing this, and just watch it back later and see if you can spot where the misalignment is happening. There are thousands of these combinations that I practice on a daily basis to really work out synchronization. I've always had problems with the picking hand more than the fretting hand, but that's just me. It's a matter of, once again, diagnose the problem and then find a solution, and keep track of your progress by writing down your metronome speed or what rhythmic values you're having a struggle with. Because remember, you could turn these eighth notes into triplets and sixteenths. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with different rhythmic values and that displacement idea, but I think this is a good place to start.